Welcome, welcome. We have many exciting bugs and improvement items to do on our Trello board. Let me make sure this is closed. Close. Close. Okay. So many items. I've got about 110 things in my Trello list. Figure if I do 5 a day, then I should be done in like a month or something. Something like that. So I'm going to try to keep up with that pace if I can. It's a pretty hefty clip. Some of these items are going to be really quick to fix, but some of them could take days. So just got to try to be averaging 5 a day here. Okay, let me start with something somewhat easy to warm up. Okay, let's take a look at this. Need to block the player from being able to leave the fest by running west. I'm pretty sure that we're talking about the winter festival here. So let me take a look at the winter festival. Let's take a look at the prefab winter festival interior. Check out the prefab. And I'll go ahead and set the start settings to winter. First of winter. I guess we don't really have start settings for the winter festival. Maybe I can just place our player. I think that there should be. There's the fall festival. This is interesting. Maybe starry. I can't imagine we don't have these start settings somewhere. Starry Night Celebration. There it is. All right, cool. So now we should be able to get into the festival pretty quickly. I'm just going to kind of check that that's working. I just want to see what's being talked about here. True Haddock, hello. Hello and welcome. Bonjour. Okay, so ooh, that is very laggy indeed. Let's head to the festival. All right, so we're at the festival. We've got someone walking in here. Let's see what's going on. Something is not right. Something's very bad. Okay. Well, we're at the festival anyway. Interesting. Very nice blue hues. It certainly looks very snowy. Well, I imagine we just have a lot of environment artwork to do on the festival, so do we really need to worry about making the collision? I feel like we ought to do the environment art first and then make the collision. Because it seems like we could maybe... Because I don't truly know what the edges are gonna look like of the festival, so it seems like it might be a little bit ahead to start laying in the walls. Yeah. I wonder. I wonder if I should have Jacqueline over to kind of figure out what that's going to look like. All right. Very sleepy here. I'm not sleepy. My stream is sleepy. Let me find something else because I'm not 100% sure that I should be even doing that. Oh, you know what? This might actually be the fall festival. That would make so much more sense. Let me check the fall festival. That would make way more sense. Let's check that. Fall. It's the fall festival. Okay. Actually, I'm getting a little bit warm. I'll be right back. Okay. Let's go to the fall festival and see if that is actually what Jacqueline was talking about. She did a playtest recently, and there's just a lot of things to fix. Oh, cool, ghosts. Okay, so this must be the thing that stops players from running west. Or what we need to do. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Cool. So that card was not about the Winter Festival. The card was actually about the Fall Festival. And there has to be something to stop players from running that way. Now, what should it be? Should it be just like a invisible wall that says, I don't want to leave the festival yet? I don't exactly know what is the trigger to leave the festival. I feel like I don't know enough to even be able to do this. Because I've never actually played the festival. Maybe I could just play the festival. I don't know what the trigger is. I'll try the apple toss game. I don't know, maybe that's a requirement. Man, this apple toss game is good. Oh yeah, that's the stuff. Just sinking these things. Okay. Score 34. I feel like that feels good. Okay. Huh. So we need to lower the apple toss scoring. I think Jacqueline mentioned that. Seems hard to believe that that was even close to the worst. I mean, I was just dunking him. Absolutely dunking him. Yeah, so I don't know what the requirements are for finishing the festival. Let's see. I can't talk to her. All right, we already did this conversation. Okay. Actually, I wouldn't mind reading that conversation. I'd be excited to read that. Oh, this is interesting. She was kind of hard to click on. It's so cool seeing all the characters talk to each other. All this stuff needs collision down here. All this stuff needs collision. The whole area needs collision. I guess that maybe is something we could do, because we really don't want players just like... Absolutely no reason for them to be over here. Or over here. I wonder what is the collision holding them in. And there's no reason for them to be walking back here. And you know, it's kind of tough because while I wouldn't necessarily say that it's a problem, like if players want to do this, it's fine. The problem I've noticed, and now that we're running a closed beta right now, it has about 20 people playing the game. And what I've noticed is people just like to do this all the time. They're just always shoving themselves into the edges and boundaries of everything. They're just always pushing into the nooks and crannies. I guess maybe they're trying to find a secret or something. So we don't really want to encourage this. I'd rather just block it off so that people always know if it looks thick, then they can't walk around in there like that's supposed to be a wall. So maybe I just want to wrap this entire area in collision. That would probably be better. Al, hello, asks, how do you feel about the progress of development so far? Last I saw that minigame, you were building it up. Oh, really? Wow, that was a long time ago. Crazy. Yeah, I think it's going really good right now. Heard very encouraging things from our beta. So I think it's going well. I think we're kind of on schedule here. I'm gonna open up the fall festival. Fall festival interior. Okay. Open it up. And we need a good way to see what's going on. Definitely need some kind of walls. Are there some kind of walls? Okay, what is this? Okay, so there is a mesh that we can actually edit here. Okay. Yeah, so let's do that. I hope this mesh is an instance per scene. I hope we're not modifying some mesh somewhere. Just gonna see what's going on here with these walls. Definitely don't want players going over here, so sort of block that area off. And then we don't need all of these nodes, so I'm just gonna delete them. Something like that. Okay. Now we need a whole lot of collision. Yeah, this collision is completely not aligned with our festival here. They're just gonna try to make sure that it somewhat follows the boundary here. We don't want players walking into all this stuff. We'll get it just behind the tree, make sure that that collision doesn't get in the way of the interaction with those trees. Collision is a really annoying thing for me. Because as a player, I don't care. Like, I am not someone, if I have a very good intuitive sense for where the game is trying to let me go and where the game clearly wants me to not go. And I'm not bothered when the game tells me not to go there. So it's hard for me to spend a lot of time making really tight collision everywhere because of my own taste. I just feel like, why am I wasting my time? But it unfortunately, it is important because I am not the normal player. Most people really do. They really do test the collision at all times. They're just always pushing against everything. And it just makes authoring the collision so much more tedious. Because A, they're gonna get stuck. Like, they're gonna break stuff if you don't do a careful job. And B, they're gonna just kind of waste their time. And maybe even get frustrated that like, oh, I couldn't go there. That's annoying. Why can't I go there? It looks like I could squeeze in through those 2 trees. Why is it? It's invisible. It's an invisible wall. Oh no, that one went way down. I'm not exactly sure when this little tool, this little Pro Builder tool decides that it wants to just drop the y-axis like 70,000 meters into the depths of oblivion. Andicorn, thank you. Oh, Andicon. Appreciate the kind words. Thanks very much. And thank you for playing Eastshade. Really appreciate that. Chimera, welcome, asks, what's the lore for your RPG? The lore. Put me on the spot here. Well, there's a bit of lore. This is a Witch Academy RPG where the magic of the world is music, and you can play instruments to do spells. That's the pitch, anyway. Okay, so I'm just going around the borders here, making sure that the players can't run into the tree line. That will probably be, see, this probably players will want to run into that, or at least they'll try. I just feel like it's so, like, people love secrets, and I like to do secrets that aren't really secret. I like to do secrets that are kind of obvious, because if they really are secret, if they really are hard to find, then you're basically telling players, I want you to push your way into every little crevice to check if it's something. And you're either going to have to make something there, which is going to be impossible because there's so many places that they could try that, or they're just going to be let down. And also, you make so much responsibility for yourself, because now you just vastly multiplied how difficult it is going to be to author all the collision for your game, because it has to be perfect. Because you basically are asking players to try to break your collision every square inch of your game. You're saying there could be secrets here, so you better try to shove yourself into every little nook and cranny. It really wasn't a problem in the old days when everything was so incredibly low poly. The collision is a joke, right? It's like very little to do. But now, I mean, we got like thousands of trees on screen. You can shove your way into any number of them. That's behind the water kind of stuff. Yes, exactly. And we actually have a waterfall in the game. And there's more than a chest back there. Yeah, that's the kind I like. Okay. Is there an epic orchestral spell that requires multiple NPCs in your party to execute that spell? Yes, there is. Actually, there's a few of them. It's funny that you thought of that. There absolutely is. Actually have to. There's one very, very, very big moment in the game where you actually have to recruit friends to help you, because the spell is so powerful. It requires many wizards to play. So you've got to make friends with lots of people at school so that they can help you cast this big spell. Okay, so now I guess we can maybe try the collision. I'm going to turn off the mesh render. I'll check that prefab out, and I'll give that prefab a save. All right. I'm glad you're sold, Chimera. Let me maybe turn off the interior now that we were just working on. Give this a whirl. I'm just gonna push myself up into all the walls and see if it's working. So I'm starting to understand this card though, like the card is need to block players from being able to leave west, to leave the fest by running west. So Jacqueline is saying not necessarily that we need collision there, but we actually need some kind of something there, like to tell the players, yes, technically this is the way you came in, but you're not supposed to leave. This bush is cut off. I don't know why. Like this. This is a perfect example. Like, there is clearly space there, right? Like, clearly my avatar could fit there. But I can't. So this is a situation when the kind of player who is just like collision obsessed would say that this is an invisible wall and this is frustrating to them because they want to go here because they imagine that like the game we made out here is really boring, but the secret game we made over here that we spent $20 million on, that we're purposefully not letting you get to because we hate you as developers, that's the game we're stopping you from getting to with our evil decision to stop you from going through here. You guys understand what I'm saying? So now I either have to like cut this out, right, and multiply this times like 1,000, every single little nook and cranny on this entire wall. I either need to cut this out or I need to like fill it, which is fine. I can fill it. It's not hard, but the problem is that like the tree line is massive. So there's just so much to do. Okay, anyhow, here we go. We've reached the end of the line. So that felt pretty good with the exception of that one little place. This feels pretty good right here. Oh yeah, I forgot that. I think the audio is probably really loud for you guys, the ambient audio. Turn that down a little. And these people, we gotta have it be a little bit more jovial. Music will definitely help. Crowd walla will help a little bit. Should be like chattering. Okay, this collision turned out pretty good. I'm happy with that. So all these little pumpkins, they need collision. Oh, this bench needs collision. Probably, pretty sure I saw a card that said she wants those benches to be sittable as well. This is good. This is feeling good. Cool. But we definitely don't have absolutely no reason to be going over here. Probably just be filling this area with more stuff. I can see all of this empty space right here. Just makes it feel like I should be able to walk down there. So I think we need to fill that with more stuff. We got a tree right here that is clipping through. So it just needs to be a whole lot thicker. I think I'm going to move the whole collision wall up a little bit because I'd rather have the player bumping like right here. I don't want them to be able to go all the way down here. Behind the bigger boulder, but to the side in the path more. Maybe talking about right here. This boulder in general needs collision, and in fact, probably the wall could go all the way out to that. This is terrible. Just really no reason to go down here. There's a fence here we can walk through. That needs collision. Pretty sure. That feels okay. That's not too bad. So this is all empty. That needs a lot of stuff. We need to fill in that area. Yeah, we need to fill in that area. Okay, these giant things need collision. All this stuff needs collision. We're almost all the way around. Okay, that thing has collision, cool. Okay, we made it. Very nice. That's not too bad. Not too bad. Kind of got to figure out what we want to put on the ground there. And let's open up the Fall Fest. Okay. So the first thing was there's this little area right here. You can just put a bush in, at least it'll be filled in. Then we've got lots of area here where there's just so many trees and we just want it to be more filled in. I'm trying to figure out what we should put in down here to make this stuff on the ground feel a little bit fuller. I'm going to give this a save and I'm going to back out. I'm going to go to the Ochre Forest, which is an area that this festival is actually set in. It's an interior. The festival's an interior, so it's not actually part of the exterior world. So here we have all kinds of stuff filling in the cracks here. It just seems to be denser. It just seems a lot of dead trees are filling it up. And then I guess just more bushes and stuff and more dead shrub. So we'll just go there and we'll do that. Dead shrub, more trees, a little bit more density. It might be Chimera, not Chimera. Might be reading your name wrong. We'll go with Chimera. You correct me if I'm saying it wrong. Love the brush leaf sound. Appreciate that. It was actually pretty hard to find a sound that was kind of soft because you don't want it too crinkly. Like there's a lot of tree rustle sounds that they're so close to the mic they really crinkle in your ears. Kind of hard to find a more soft one that still does the job and makes us think of rustling through vegetation. That was a hard one to find. So I think just way more dead trees. I'm gonna grab these two dead ones and just really try to increase the volume here. Because the denser it looks, the more non-navigable it'll feel. I'll try to mix up the arrangement here. Some of them should be backwards, like we can do like a negative. Just flip it horizontally. And I also find that dead things are sort of repellent to the player. Or I didn't really find that, I guess, but I guess I personally feel that way. When I'm walking around, dead things feel like less interesting, I guess. They're just really trying to fill out the forest here, more density. Let's get a bunch of these shrubs as well. I want them to be really big. I'm not concerned about texel density or sharpness. I just really want them to cover. Just really coverage is what I'm after. And I don't particularly care if it repeats because it's going to be obfuscated by so much brush and trees and stuff going on that I don't think it'll be too bad. Wow, check that out. It's like that rock felt like it was right up against the tree line, but it was actually so far away. Oh, this is a weird rock. It's gonna be kind of annoying to get collision. We might already have some collision for it. Let's see. Seaflower rocks. Okay. So we're just copying this in stupid ways here. Yeah, we already have collision for this. Let's see. This is just a completely broken prefab. Let me unpack it. I'm not going to try to get it back. There we go. So there's the shadow. We'll put the shadow underneath the rock. And then here's the collision. We'll put the collision underneath the rock too. And this one has one as well. And I'm just going to go ahead and grab the mesh collider from this other one. And I will paste it. I don't actually know why the mesh collider is a separate thing, but... Oh, is that why? Because it's completely not aligned whatsoever? Weird. That seems like really bad collision. Let me see about this other one. How's it? Yeah. Let me see. What is the... Would you look at that? The collision actually is different. That is so weird, man. Okay. So let me just copy the transforms. I don't know why the collision has different transforms, but I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to do it, and then we'll go to the other one, and now I'll just remove the mesh collider we added. There we go. That should be tighter collision. Pronounced chimera. Okay, gotcha. That makes so much more sense. That's a monster in The Witcher. Matt TV. Oh, rock on. I'm so glad you like the devlogs. All right. Really appreciate your support. Thanks for watching them, and I'm glad you dig them. Okay, so now all those things have collision. That's good. What else? So we wanted a lot more density in the tree line over here. Put some more in here. Just filling out all that stuff. Maybe something like that. Okay, and then we'll grab maybe some more dead shrubs here. Maybe we'll fill it in with some more dead shrubs. Just do not want to see the ground. Because in a real forest, you just don't see the ground. In a wooded area, right, life is going to find the empty spots. And it's going to fill it with something. Not grass. Not grass, people. Not grass. You find me a forest that has grass. Cannot stand it. They exist. They do. They exist. But they are so rare and weird. I swear to God, whenever I'm playing a game, if I'm in a forest and there is grass on the ground, it's trying to be a dense forest. That's what I feel like the environment is trying to, that is the vibe the environment is trying to give me. And there's grass on the forest. I am offended. I'm not offended, but I feel like there was not a lot of care put in to the game on an artistic level. There was not a lot of artistic seriousness. I don't know why this one is floating so much higher than the other. Because if you really pay attention to forests and you really want to capture their magic, then you will know that forests don't tend to have grass. They have so many things. They have, you know, mid-growth, they have saplings, they have stumps, they have fallen logs, they have ferns sometimes, especially in the Pacific Northwest. Literally ferns is like the grass is actually ferns instead of grass. It's ferns so thick, it's like the thickness of grass. Just thousands and thousands of fern, and it looks dope. It looks dope, and not a lot of games do it because, well, for one, it's really hard because ferns are typically a lot harder to render than grass because you can't really make it's hard to make a fern alpha card. You usually have to have like the bending of the leaves. It can be done though. I've done it for Eastshade. I made fern alpha cards. But also, and maybe this is even bigger, people just don't pay attention. They just don't look at reference. They don't look at reference. They don't care. They're not artists. They're just not artists. I'm surprised there's anyone still watching now that I've completed my rant about grass in forests. It's not the first time I've given that rant, and it won't be the last. Okay, so still just trying to fill out, what is this little thing I have a hold of? Something, a ghost? Let me delete it. Let me just try to put more of these cool little bushes in here. Trying to fill out all of this barren space. I really want it to feel very dense. So just trying to fill it out with more shrubs and bushes. Almost time to take a look. I'm feeling like this area might still be a little bit sparse. So I'm just making the bush way bigger. Trying to get density here, coverage. Okay, we got a lot of the same bush. We'll try to get some of this other kind of bush. Cool. Okay. Catch up with chat. Tilatia, hello and welcome. Yeah, when you picture forest in your head, right? You really look at the ground. You don't, there's no grass. Grass is in prairies, grass is on the Kazakh steppe, you know, grass is on lawns, on people's lawns. Literally they have to do so much work to clear out the space to make grass, and then they have to continually dump water on it to keep the grass. Grass, you know, you see it in meadows and clearings, but in a forest with trees, grass needs a lot of sun. Grass is a full sun plant. So if you have a dense forest that does not have full sun, you do not see grass on the floor. Okay, Al says, at what point in the game does the player learn the machete spell to cut through the forest collision and reach the secret lands? Stop it, Al. Stop it. Tall Turtle, hello and welcome to the stream. Good to see you. Yeah, so this is the dev stream. Basically, I just try to get work done, and I chat into this microphone the whole time. It's pretty strange, but some people dig it, and honestly, it helps me focus sometimes, because I'm trying to keep things moving to actually make the stream interesting. It's not interesting, but you know, I try. Okay, so just filling out more of the ground. And now I'm going to go around and try to remember all the different parts of this area that didn't have collision. So all of these pumpkins, strangely, this one has collision. I could have sworn I walked right through this one. I guess I didn't. Does seem like we need a little bit more width on that. We've got some Z fighting going on with, you can see the shadows disappear when I get close. I just need to float above the ground a little bit more to make sure the shadow's not going to Z fight. Is this an actual prefab? Competition Pumpkin 3? Let me save that prefab. I'm going to go into the Competition Pumpkin 3. I'm going to see if it's an actual prefab. Tall Turtle says, people watch my live stream flying pretend airplanes. See, now that sounds cool. That actually sounds interesting. I'm just sitting on my butt here. People enjoy it. Yeah, I can imagine. That sounds cool. Teletia. Watching with my cat. He's invested. One of the inspiration for Eastshade were Elder Scroll games in terms of exploration. What was the inspiration for Glimmerwick? Elder Scrolls is definitely a massive inspiration, both for myself and for Jacqueline. Skyrim is Jacqueline's favorite game. Oblivion is my favorite game. I would say the inspiration for Glimmerwick mostly is still Elder Scrolls, weirdly enough. It doesn't look like an Elder Scrolls game, but it absolutely plays like an Elder Scrolls game. Like the quest structure, if there's anyone who's in the chat right now who's played our beta, I know of at least one, Tall Turtle. Anyone who's played the beta and played an Elder Scrolls game, I'm sure you would agree that the quests feel very Elder Scrollsian. And hopefully people felt that way about Eastshade too. But, you know, I mean, I'd be lying if I said there wasn't a little Harry Potter in there. But also a lot of, I would say the biggest sort of tonal influence for the game is, I think, Jacqueline's favorite book, which is written by Diana Wynne Jones, is Year of the Griffin. And that came out way before Harry Potter. And it's a magic school. Harry Potter's not the first magic school, magic university sort of world. Diana Wynne Jones probably isn't either. She also wrote Howl's Moving Castle, probably more famous for that. But great book, Year of the Griffin. Really fun. Very like Terry Pratchett-y, if anyone's like a fantasy reader. Like very Terry Pratchett-y in like how it walks the line between humor and you know, just still having strong characters and stuff. Like the book has jokes and it's funny, but it's still really, I don't know, it's still just a really good book in every other way that it can be. Okay, so we got back to exterior world. I started moving little bushes because I wasn't thinking. Let's go back to our competition pumpkin. So I just updated the collision of our competition pumpkin. And actually, since these are all prefabs, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that they all have collision. It looks like they do. So it looks like the pumpkins aren't the issue, although it does look like they all need a little bit more collision here, just so that players don't clip through it. That was a really long rant. Paul Turtle says, what are the crowns with the members next to the names? I don't know. I haven't looked on Twitch in like forever. I don't know. Oh, it's probably the YouTube. Probably watching on YouTube, right? Yeah, you're watching on YouTube. I don't even remember. I don't remember what the crowns are. Subscribers, maybe? I don't know. Hey, Dusky. Yeah, it's been a long time. On the last game, it's been a really, really long time. Yeah, I don't remember what the crowns are. Kind of new to YouTube streaming myself. I'm streaming on 2 platforms right now. Streaming on YouTube and Twitch. Okay, so just adjusting the collision on these competition pumpkins. I just want the collision to, I don't want players to walk through the sides of the pumpkin. And this is all still 1 card. And I haven't even done the thing that I'm supposed to do on the card. But you know what? It doesn't matter. Whatever. It's not in the cards. It makes me feel bad because it makes me feel like I'm not getting stuff done. But it still needs to be done. You can't just have players walking through the forest. Someone has to do it at some point. So it's got to be done. So I can't feel bad that it's not in the cards. I'm not crossing things off on my schedule, but whatever. Work that's got to be done. Gotcha, Dusky. Interesting frequency of chat. Huh. Good morning, Thorn, and welcome. Okay, come on. Move on. Come on, let's do it. More gusto here. Check out and save. That's fine. I'm going to leave the pumpkins alone now. And I want to get to the really big ones, which are couple of things I walk through. This one, wherever this is, the pumpkin decor I'm walking through. So let me select that. So I think all the pumpkin decors don't have collision. So let's just make sure they all have collision. So let's add a box collider here. I always just like to add a little bit of depth to the box colliders. If I can figure out. Okay, there we go. That seems fine. I'll just go ahead and copy that, copy component, and we'll check that out. Yeah, I don't have any, Jacqueline did not report any bugs of being able to walk through any of these pumpkins, because she's like me. She doesn't try to walk through things that she knows she can't walk through. Just like, I'm not supposed to walk through that. I don't care if I can or can't. But if we put out, like, our beta players haven't gotten to this part of the game, but like if we put out the beta and people can walk through these pumpkins, everybody's going to be reporting bugs about walking through the pumpkins, which is great. I mean, we like bug reports, but the problem is that they're reporting those bugs instead of all the other things that, you know, because we know that people can walk through the pumpkins, and it's not super hard to fix. We just haven't really done it yet, because we just always feel like there's bigger fish to fry. So sometimes you got to fry up all the small fish so that all that is left is the big fish, so that you can focus, you can get everyone to focus on the things that are not so easy to see and not so easy to reproduce either. Like we've got, the game will eventually be localized to a few different languages. So we have the option in the menu to change the language for the game. But we don't have any localizations yet, so it just bugs out. If you try to change the language, it just bugs out because it has just a bunch of null languages that aren't there yet. And it breaks the whole game. And we had like seemingly half of our testers report that. And then we'd also get reports of the bugs that would result from the game being in Chinese, you know, or like trying to be in Chinese, but there's no Chinese translation strings. So then it breaks in all kinds of other ways. So we've got, just as an example, we have in our list that we're going to fix, at least we're going to limit it. We're just going to say English for now, and you can't click right or left, even though we know eventually we're going to need those fields for languages. We're just not going to have them now because it's just too distracting when people can mess with that. It's a tough balance. Okay, so we've got all the decor now has collision, so that's great. Let's go back to the fall festival. And just look at some other things. So here we've got this giant thing. Let's make sure this is an actual plane replacement instead of the Unity plane. Just saves a lot of polygons. And I know that Jacqueline mentioned that the vendors should be in the pumpkins. So these pumpkins need to be able to they need to actually have people be able to stand inside of them. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make sure both of these are plane replacements. And I think I can do this without actually authoring any meshes. Should be faster this way. I'm just going to go to these, both of these textures that she's drawn. Sorry, I need a cough. 1 second. Let me mute the mic so we don't blow your eardrums out. Okay. Now I'm going to take these textures and I'm going to just grab the backgrounds here. Unfortunately, the backgrounds are they all built in? We've got a color adjustment. Oh, okay, cool. So I just want to take it. I'm hoping it's just a color. That would be ideal. But we want to make sure that oops. I'm going to cut that part out of the mask. We're on quick mask mode. What did I do? Oh, there we go. Yeah, it does look like it's going to be a solid color, which is great. Okay. Cut that out of the mask, and then I want to cut that out of here too. And we just need to check out, here's the background. Okay, cool. So that's what I want out of these drawings. I just want them to be holes. And then we're going to go check out the other one. And we're going to do the same thing. Here we go. So let's see. What do we got? Some layer has some little bits showing here. Okay, yeah. I want to make sure those are gone because I don't think we want those there. Okay, and I'm going to grab those holes and I'm just going to remove them out of the mask because I know we're going to have alpha issues if we don't. There we go. Give that a save. And now I should just be able to take a plane and stick it behind. This is going to be great. It should make this way easier. We also have a drop shadow that for whatever reason is completely below the ground. So definitely want to raise that up. Ah, and it's at a bizarre angle. This entire thing is at a bizarre angle. Don't really know why that is. I'm going to crack the shadow out of its group. So I can't. Whatever, I'll just rotate it like a peasant. Plane replacement. Okay. We're getting a little Z fighting on that shadow. I'm just going to lift it. There we go. And I'll make the shadow a little bit more oblong. This pumpkin is floating way, well, I was going to say way too far off the ground, but I guess the bottom of that pumpkin right there actually has no room to go down, so maybe it's right where it ought to be. Anyhow, they definitely need collision. So I suppose I'll just add a box collider to start. Give it a little bit of thickness. And then I want to make the collision not so tall. And I'm pretty sure we just want to push it down here because I actually want to make sure that there's a hole here because we want players to be able to interact with the NPC behind the mouth. I'm going to copy that component, which is the collision, and I'm going to paste it on this other one. Paste component as new, and now that one has collision as well. Okay. And now I want to add a new sprite. We're going to remove the collision from it. And I'm going to make a new shader. A new material, sorry, not a new shader. And I'm going to call it Fall Fest Pumpkin Building Background. And we're just going to grab that, call it BG, and I'm just going to push it a little bit and scale it down. I'm going to push it actually quite a bit. We want to give a lot of space here. A lot of space for our NPCs. And now, just want to make sure that we've got the correct material. And I'm going to put a white, call it almost white. And then what I'm going to do is turn on that same color, just so we can sample from it. There we go. And now we turn it off. Give it a save. And now we should have a hole. There we go. Now I've got a hole in the pumpkin, an actual legitimate hole. It's going to be really hard to tell the shape that we need. So I'm going to give this a save. And I'm going to see if we have a virtual camera that is going to let us. Here we go, the Viz Cam. And looks like the Viz Cam's already exactly where we want it. So I'm going to save the prefab. I'm going to back up into our main scene here, and I'm going to turn on that interior fall festival so we can actually see what we're doing. Fall festival interior. Turn it on. Oh man, come on now. Oh, we might need to make the priority of the camera really high. Seems like it ought to be, because it seems to be we're pointed at the wrong spot. All viz. I don't. Oh, there we go. Okay, the camera is actually in the wrong spot. Here we go. Move the camera up over a little bit and up a little bit. And most importantly, move the camera in because it is way out there. There we go. Now it should be looking right at our pumpkin so that we can actually see what's going on. Okay, so now I can see that our little plane here is popping out. Probably could have guessed that was going to happen. But now I can just see exactly how wide it needs to be and how tall it needs to be. I'll save. I don't think it's popping out anymore. I'll just try to make it as small as I can. Really make sure that it doesn't pop out. Okay, cool. And we should have plenty of room back there for NPCs. Yeah. We might even, it might be cool to put like a gradient. Like a radial gradient. Yeah, that's cool. And now we can sort of up the light. We definitely need some kind of watercolor wash over this thing. Turn off the random color. We're not going to have any rain ripples because it's definitely an interior. Okay, we have no snow on it, which is what we want. Hello, Bramblebeard. Thank you. Oh, I gotcha. Okay, so I'm gonna do the overlay, some kind of overlay, some kind of texture going on here. Maybe we'll do like watercolor wash. And I'll increase the strength of the overlay intensity. So it seems like having it really strong is serving us well. I might turn down the tiling a little bit. I don't love what's going on here. I wish we had... We do need some kind of gradient, but it needs to not go to black, I'm thinking. I'm going to duplicate that. And I'm just going to call it like, I don't know, pumpkin BG light. Fairly confident this will only ever be used once. I'm going to crack open that PSD. Bramblebeard says, uploading part 6 of my Evershade playthrough. Do you mean Eastshade? Thank you, thank you. Okay, I'm just going to clamp the bottom because it should not get all the way to black. No, you're good. People always, very common. I've heard Evershade, I've heard East March a lot. I think it's because there's a place called East March in World of Warcraft, and that's just like deep in the depths of people's minds. This stupid name anyway. Eastshade is one of my regrets, I think. Is calling the name Eastshade. But my biggest regret is calling the studio Eastshade. Be right back. Okay. Okay, that's a little bit better. Yeah, I think that's a little bit better. Maybe the overlay is a little bit strong. We might just turn it down a smidge. Okay, cool. I'm gonna go ahead and apply. Is it even a does it even, it really doesn't need to be a prefab. I'm gonna unpack this. This is the only place in the entire world. For some reason, when it's the only thing, when it's not actually a prefab that is gonna be instanced anywhere else, for some reason, I kind of like it to be unpacked. And I just really know where my data is living. And actually, it's because it's kind of hard to modify when it's in the greater context. Unity always throws complaints. Oh, you can't do that because you need to go into the prefab. Okay, so here we go. We need to make that one a little bit tighter. A little bit smaller. Rebranding is always a thing. Yeah, I guess we could change our name. It just feels like a waste. Feels like we're like losing whatever little bit of brand equity we lose from renaming ourselves. Would it really be worth it? I don't know. I guess if it's confusing to people, I think the name is hard to say. Eastshade, and I think it's confusing a little bit, maybe. I don't know. I actually named our studio Eastshade Studios, not because I loved the name, but I just thought it would be easier. I thought, why not name your studio after your debut game? Because some people refer to like Bungie. They're like the Halo studio, even though they don't even make Halo anymore. But, you know, they're always remembered as the studio that made Halo 1. So I was kind of thinking that wouldn't it be nice if Halo was the studio was just called Halo Studios? It'd be like so easy to remember. But now knowing, you know, how different Glimmerwick would end up being from our first game and stuff, it's a little bit weird. Not the end of the world, though. It's also kind of a nightmare. I mean, we have all of our, everything is in Eastshade Studios name, like our all of our accounts and everything, and then our LLC and our DBA and our business license and our UBI is attached to that name and everything. I know you can change all that stuff, but so many forms and stuff. Latia says, the struggle I have is in Russian. It has a dash, I think, between the east and the shade. And I always confuse which language has this symbol. Interesting. Bramblebeard said, I just did myself. Do you mean change the name of your company? Bramblebeard asks, any plans to do something a bit more suspenseful adventure? I don't think so. I don't think we'd ever want to do a suspenseful adventure. We're kind of all sunshine and rainbows here at East Shade Studios. I feel like that's kind of our brand, and that's definitely what we like to do, so. This post doesn't have a collision, so maybe let's just add it real quick. I don't know why it doesn't. I mean, it is a prefab. Weird. Well, I'm going to open the prefab. I don't know why it doesn't have collision. And let's just go ahead and add a box collider. Not a cube, a box collider. Okay. Make it very simple here. Make it a little bit wider. Okay. Bramblebeard says, I was a Flight Simulator Adventures as a channel for years, recently changed to Bramblebeard to open my content. Oh, I see. Kind of a similar thing. A more narrow focus and then a broadening. All right, rock on. Well, thank you so much for dropping by the stream, Bramblebeard. Hope you have a good one. Okay, so we've got our vendors. Let's check out our Trello cards. I know that, first of all, there's a Fall Fest. Oh, fill in Fall Fest tree line edges with more bushes. Looks sparse. Yes, yes, that's an actual card. That is so random because I just was, when I was running around, I was like, that tree line looks so sparse. That does not look good. We got to fill that in. And while Jacqueline was playtesting the game, she had the exact same thought and wrote the card. And it just makes me happy because I had on my schedule to do 5 cards a day. And it just makes me happy that all that work actually went into a card. Okay, I don't know why that's making me so irrationally happy, but nonetheless. Okay, here we go. Need to block players from running west. I'm going to put all the cards I'm like currently working on kind of in one big batch at the bottom. The vendors need to be in the pumpkin stall and cart. So put that one. That's something we're working on right now as well. Okay. Wicked. We like to see our wall, our Trello wall. It's crazy. So much. It's just like a brick, like a solid brick. It works pretty well for us, though. We keep it simple. We just have lists. See this person's list, this person's list, this person's list, and then whoever is makes the most sense. We just drop that card in their list, and then everybody just can turn on their horse blinders and just work on their own list and finish their own cards. And then we somehow all keep pulling in the same direction. So looking at through this camera, I'm noticing that like you can see a lot of empty space over here, and that is not what we want. We just want more trees all the way to that area. So I'm just going to grab some trees, and I'm just going to try to make sure that that whole area is very much filled in, just in case the player ever can peek. Does get a glimpse. We really want it to be very full. Let's give it a save. Much fuller. And it's very bright right here. This is not how the game actually looks. This looks absolutely ghastly. It's only doing that because we have two sun contributions, which is just the nature of how it's set up. But when the player actually plays it, it doesn't look like that. It actually looks good. So this little apple barrel didn't have any collision, so I'm just making sure to put collision on that. In general, I feel like the beta that we're running has made me feel a little bit more gung-ho about collision. Just in general, making sure that you can't walk through things and you can't get stuck in things. I'm just trying to focus a little bit more on it now. It's fine. I think it's finally time. Can't put it off any longer. Okay, we have done a lot of stuff. Now, one thing I wanted to do, first of all, there's this little fence down here. Looks pretty cool. I think that the shader on this fence, sorry, the material on this fence, I think it could be darker. There's like a wood fence dark. Yeah, just in this environment, I think the darker fence works a little bit better. A wood fence 2 also looks pretty nice. Yeah, I think wood fence 2 looks nice. So just replacing the material on all of these fence pieces. Okay. Now we've got all these fence pieces that don't have collision. I'm just going to add a box collider and hope that the auto box collider works. Seems to be pretty good. The only thing is it doesn't have to be so thick. I'm just going to make sure it's just not quite so thick. Awesome. I think that'll work great. Now I'm going to copy this entire fence. Actually, I'll add an empty object and I'll call this fence. Stick the fence in there. And then I'm going to duplicate the entire fence and put it over here. And my plan is just to make like a gate that looks like, you know, a carriage could have gone through. But, you know, it'll be closed, so the player won't be able to go through it. I just think that's maybe better than having some message that says I shouldn't leave the fall festival. That implies that you can at some point leave the fall festival. And I don't remember how to even get past this fall festival. But I'm pretty sure it's not leaving out of the front, so. All right. Oops. I made that camera go way too low. This is ridiculous. It takes so long to save. Now it's too high. No, it's not too high. What is going on? Okay. Save. Oh my gosh, I'm just going back and forth, moving this camera like 3 inches. Gotta wait for this thing to save. There we go. Now I can actually see a little bit. It really should be a lot higher than that. Okay, there we go. So there's the fence. Yeah, I think that this could work. And actually the angle of that fence works pretty well too. So we just need a piece of fence that looks like it's a gate that a carriage could have gone through, and that the fence is closed now. So I'll go ahead and grab this part, move it way out over here. Let me put one more fence link. Actually, you know, I like this broken fence link. I'll do that one. Move it like right here-ish. And then I'm going to take this and just use it as a post. Oops. Take this one, put it right here. Okay, and then I want a gate that is pretty huge. I mean, it's an absolutely massive carriage. So let's see if that's going to look big enough. I'm imagining just one plank of wood. That doesn't even seem like it's going to be big enough to fit the carriage. So let me move this even more. And then if I can, I'll just make like, I don't even know if I have like an actual wood beam. Here's one singular beam. And I'm going to try to put on wood fence 2. And I'm just going to scale it to about the right size. And I'm just going to try to make this thing look like some kind of gate for the carriage. It's kind of weird that people are trapped in here. It doesn't really make sense. But I don't know, maybe there's like an entry fee or something. I don't know. Okay, so I've placed a piece of wood. Let's just see how that reads from the camera's perspective. See if that actually looks like something that would. It kind of does. Yeah, it kind of looks like a gate. You know, I think that if it were a gate, it would be like maybe like triangular, like this. I'll rotate that. Yeah, I'm feeling like that looks a lot more like a gate. And it would just need a lot of wood support here at the end. Well, I guess with the new AI craze happening right now, maybe we'll get there. I would hate that. I hope we never get there. I mean, maybe it's provincial, maybe it's selfish. I mean, obviously I've spent my whole life becoming a good artist, so kind of sad to imagine that we'll have AI, but I like to think that it's not just because I'm a good artist, but as a consumer of art, I don't know, it just makes me sad to think that, you know, fundamentally art is about expression, and I'm just not really interested in consuming art that is not expression, because it's not expression because nobody expressed it, so it's not somebody expressing themselves to me. You know, their passions and their joys and their feelings and their love and their craftsmanship. The idea of losing all that makes me feel really icky inside. I don't like, it makes me feel existential. Alatia says same on the AI and future. Yeah, for sure. Tall Turtle says, I personally think AI as we know it is going to be a bubble that bursts. I so hope you're right. I really hope you're right. In 10 to 15 years, we'll be talking about those crappy AI days. Thank God it's over. I really hope you're right. The craze will burst, I'm sure of it. I hope so. Yeah, some people say they're like coding with it and stuff. I haven't gotten it to do anything useful with coding. That right there looks a lot more like a gate to me. So I'm hoping that that could work. This is kind of a weird place for this lantern. I'm gonna maybe put it like over here, more by the edge of the gate. I guess it's also kind of weird, the orientation of this carriage, kind of like set to leave, but maybe it's fine. I'm gonna look at like wooden farm gate or something. Let's see. Like, what is this thing called? Like a cow gate, maybe? Okay, cowgate is actually a very popular thing in Edinburgh. Like a literal cowgate, like a gate for cows. There we go. I guess that's kind of what I'm thinking of. Yeah, I think that this is what I'm thinking of. But ours is more of a low gate to stop, kind of more like the gate at the beginning of like a trail. At least in the United States, we have got a lot of trails that have these gates at the beginning, and they're not really meant to be security. I think they're just kind of meant to be closed. You know, at sunset, the park ranger comes and closes it, and mostly it's just to stop cars from going through. I don't think it's really meant to stop people from going through. Old Turtle says, my kids try to use AI to do schoolwork, and I let them because it's so incorrect and bad. And they learned very quickly that it's easier just to do their own work. I wanted them to find that out for themselves because what do I know? I'm just an old dad. How old are your kids, Tall Turtle, if you don't mind me asking? I've got a son. He's 2 right now. And frankly, I'm just very worried about the future. And I'm worried about AI and what kind of world he's going to live in. 17 and 14, okay. Nimerus says, I feel like a regular wood fence with planks crossing from corner to corner would suit more this style. Okay. Just like a cross. Let's try a cross. Let's try that. So 17 and 14. So they're definitely they're just prime for dealing with the AI crisis. But I'm happy to hear that they do their schoolwork themselves. I worried a lot about things when my kids were very young, but when you are living it in the moment, it's not as scary as it seems when you think about it abstractly. That makes a lot of sense. These are wise words. These are wise words. I guess when I think about when I was 17, I was just very, very, very excited for the world. I was just really inspired and happy, and I felt like the world was my oyster. Like I was so excited to get into the games industry. I already wanted to get into games, and I was working really hard at it. I was working like my first games job I got when I was 18. I was one of the youngest people to work, I think maybe in the entire games industry in Washington State. I was definitely the youngest employed person at my company, which was ArenaNet. I was working on Guild Wars 2. Actually, only the office manager was younger than me. She would like stock all the goodies and order things for the office and stuff. I was really young when I got in, and I was just very starry-eyed about everything. And I hope that my son will get to feel like that. I hope that he'll get to feel that excitement, I guess. Excitement for the world. I'm going to move this plank off to the side just so we can take a look at what this like pure cross gate looks like. Oh, sorry guys. Let me mute this. Nettleflap says, apparently that triangle type of gate is called a forestry gate. Nettleflap, thank you so much. Thank you so much. That's all I need, baby. I need just a word. A forestry gate. That is going to be so helpful. I love it. Okay. Yes, that's the gate. That's the one I'm talking about. Okay, so now we've got all kinds of different designs. So they are very sparse. Now what I'm noticing is the ones that just have the really long beams, they're always metal, presumably because a piece of wood that long would not be very strong. It's not nearly as strong as metal. Like something like this, like you couldn't ever make this out of wood, right? It would last like a year and it would fall apart. Turtle says, thankfully they both don't care about social media. They learned quickly how useless it is, but they are very mature for their ages. Well, that's very fortunate. Yeah, we'll see. I'll try not to be grumpy about the world. I'm really not grumpy about the future, I guess. I'm just genuinely scared. I'm just really scared. Because I feel like when I grew up, I just felt like I had so much hope, and it's just really sad. I just want my kids to be able to feel that kind of hope, I guess. Maybe they will. Maybe it's just purely growing up. As you get older, maybe you just get less hopeful about the world, or maybe there is genuinely something less hopeful about the world right now. I don't know. It's really hard to say. This is very, very heavy stream content, I guess. I'm just looking at these forestry gates, seeing if there's one maybe that... I'm going to type in wood. I'm going to see if there's any that are ever made out of wood. It seems like most of them are made out of metal. Here's one that's made out of wood. Okay. So this, yeah, just a couple beams and then a couple crosses. We might do 2 crosses here. Yep, let's try it. Let's try 2 crosses. I think I saw a wooden version, but maybe once. Turtle says, my kids are grumpy about the future, but I remind them that It goes in cycles. When I was their ages, we were sure the world was going to end. Okay, well that's consoling. I don't know how old you are, Tall Turtle. I'm 34. Same with my parents, and now same with them, but you just take it step by step, accept curveballs, and make the most of them. Okay, 47, so maybe like half, was that like half a generation in front of me? Maybe 3/4 of a generation, something like that. Nice, nice. That's great. Happy for you. Okay, so I'm gonna make these crosses here. And this is really, normally I would definitely do this in my 3D editor. I would not try this in, usually I don't do this kind of stuff in Unity, and it's already actually kind of getting really annoying. I'm already kind of wishing that I just did it in my 3D editor. Initially, I just wanted to do it just to prototype quickly. I guess it is relatively fast. There's something like that. And then we'll just grab this and we'll just duplicate it. I'll get it moving on the global and I'll just copy it. Here we go. Okay. So then I'll grab all these pieces. Let's just see how that looks. I'm going to give that a save. The problem is it looks like a gate. Maybe it won't look like a gate once we add some beams to the top and bottom. Let's see. You're 47 and you are, I know you have at least one boy. You have two boys, or a boy and a girl? Your kid is 17. When I'm your age, my kid will be 10 years, 12. My kid will be 14, so I'll be, when I'm your age, my kid will be the age of your youngest. Wild, crazy, exhausting. Okay, this is so crazy that I'm doing this in the editor. It's so silly. Do it in my 3D package. Working like a game designer right now who doesn't know how to model. I know how to model. That's an understatement. Modeling is my jam. Okay, so here is a gate. Let me give that a save. Take a look how it looks. Crazy thing is that as you age as a parent, kids seem the same age. I used to think my friends with kids in their late teens were so old. But now my 17-year-old seems so young as I've aged too. Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. Age is funny like that. Let me see. What's on there? Chateau, thank you very much for the follow. I really appreciate that. And Ast Isn't, thank you very much for the follow. Thank you, thank you. Dota 2, welcome. How do you make your textures? Really like the style of what you've got going on. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. For this game, the texturing, I mean, a lot of the A lot of the actual things in the world are actually illustrations by my wife, Jacqueline. She's the art director of the game. And she drew most of the things in the game. But then all the actual texture work, and there is a lot of texture work in Glimmerwick. It's like, it's a lot of very simple things, like this leaf texture is like just a bunch of blotches. And then we kind of put like a watercolor wash over a lot of stuff to give it some more texture. I think that gate maybe works. But let's model it. This is ridiculous. Let's just model a gate. So first I'm going to find, let me just find where the fences are. I don't actually remember where I put these fences. Let's go ahead and model a gate. Models. Might be in like wood. I have one for wood. Wood structures. Check this one out. They don't notice if it's good, they notice if it's bad. I think when it comes to visuals, I think that people kind of notice. People notice when something's pretty. They do. At least it's worked for us. I mean, I think that a lot of the sort of appeal to our games is how they look. I think people just see them and they instantly just like, oh my gosh, I want to like live there. It looks so pretty. That seems to work all right for us. Let me find, wow, there's so many versions of these wood fences. Let me start with this one, I guess. Yeah, we'll do something like this. I'll just copy the whole thing and we'll move it over here. Oops. Okay, now I'm going to make this gate. So first I need to check this file out. I'm going to go ahead and check out our wood structures, put it in the pending change list. And I'll go ahead and mark this for exports. And let's just make sure we have some good reference here. So this, I think, okay, that is really small. Not going to work for us. We could do something like this. Oh my gosh. This might work. I think that something like that could be made out of wood, and it very much looks like it's meant to open, which is what I like about it. Let me do that. Let me do that shape anyway. Yeah. It's gonna work. And it doesn't actually have to open. That's the beautiful part. It's just to look like it can open. So I'm just gonna build this thing out of pieces of wood. These are very crude pieces of wood. Maybe that's good. I don't know. Okay, so they actually, the way that one works is it doesn't even meet up. It has like a piece of wood there. So let me see if I can get a plank. Is this a plank of wood? Let me just craft one out of this. It's not going to be hard here. Just grab one here. Delete the faces of the other sides. I'm just going to rotate it 90 degrees here. And then I'm just going to square this stuff up. So I'll just grab this face and we'll just square it up, square it up, square it up, square it up. Now we just have a perfectly average little box here. And we'll just fill the top and bottom. And then I'll just grab the UVs and I'll just make sure they have like enough space there. Oh, actually, we do want like a little short piece of wood here. Come on now, where's the bottom? It's going to be in here. There you go. Okay, let's put that right at the end. A little thicker. This is going to be the sort of end piece. That looks a little bit too perfect. Don't know about that. We might have to crude that up a little bit, but anyhow. Yeah, I think it's gonna work. You know, sometimes you just can kind of tell, like it's just reading well, I think. You don't really need those holes. I'm just gonna leave them though, because it's gonna be annoying to get rid of them. Let's take a look at our reference. So we do have the one, we do have the one piece of wood in here, and I think we'll go ahead and put that in. It's a very insubstantial piece of wood. I just wanna, just something in there, just like our reference, maybe back here. There we go. Okay. And now I just need to crude these pieces of wood up a little bit because they are just so, they're just so perfect compared to the wood that they're with, right? So I'm just going to make them a little bit more imperfect. Something like that. Just beveling some of the edges just so that the wood looks more. A little bit more beat up there. There we go. That's perfect. Cool. And I might just move this piece, just shove it in a little bit more. And I'll just make sure this wood just kind of truncates a little bit faster. I actually don't even think it should come to a point like that. I think it made sense for how the other fence was built, but not for this one. So let's get rid of that. Okay, cool. I think that looks pretty decent, and I'm pretty confident it's going to work. And again, it doesn't need to open, so that's beautiful. So let's just grab all these pieces. And I'm just going to rotate them 180 degrees. We don't need to animate it or anything. And then I'm just going to stick the other side here. And I really want to make sure that this doesn't look, because right now it clearly looks mirrored, and I don't want that. I'm going to change the shape a little bit. Something like that. And we got a really piece of crude wood down here. I'm going to replace that piece with a more simple one, just so that it doesn't look mirrored. And then really I'm going to move on, because this gate is so small on screen, and we only see it once in the whole game. So it really is a very bad idea to call it noodling, when you just like spend a lot of time making something look nice and you don't think about the full experience. You can just waste your time, right? So that's it. We made that gate pretty fast. Let me just make sure that everything is parented to this one dummy object. Cool. And I'm just going to give this a name, a sensible name, like fence 2 gate, or like fence 2 big gate, LD0. Let me catch up with chat. I've not been watching. Oh, I'm not too behind. Easy. To me, Songs of Glimmerwick and E-Shade look vastly different, but I love the look of both. Well, I really appreciate that. I'm glad you feel that way. To me, what ties them to the same studio is the task adventure-based gameplay based on the trailer for Songs of Glimmerwick and having had played E-Shade and Leaving Lindau. I'm glad you noticed that, because I agree. Definitely the way we do quests, I think, is we're such a quest studio. Like, it's kind of tough, because I feel like from a marketing perspective, it's very hard to sell people on the idea that this is a game full of quests. That doesn't interest people. Like they're not like, oh, I love games full of quests. Like they do. I know people love quests, man. They do. And if you have really boring quests or like very templatey quests, it could destroy. I mean, so many games are they're really just as good as their quests. Like I think, in my opinion, every Elder Scrolls game is only as good as its quests. And that's the reason why people play those games. But it's really hard to sell people on that pitch, I guess. So that's why we have to, even Eastshade, right? It's like, oh, there's like this painting thing, and like it has this other pitch to it. We can't just say it's an open world adventure game where you do a bunch of quests, because people are going to be like, well, that doesn't sound fun. But like it is fun, and you would think it was fun if you would just play it. I guess that's my that's my feeling on it. I think people like quests more than they like systems, but they think they like systems more than they like quests. So they're looking for the systems. They're like, oh, what's the combat like in this game? When in actuality, I think a lot of great RPGs, the combat is auxiliary. Like you look at Oblivion, man. Oh, the combat was so bad, and it still is. I'm playing the remaster right now. I literally put it on the easiest setting. I'm one-shotting every enemy. I've completely trivialized the combat. There's nothing to the combat anymore. I almost removed it from the game just based on the difficulty setting. And it is none the weaker. It literally, the game has lost nothing. It's exactly as good. That's my feeling about it anyway. Nymera says, the art style is what draws me into a game. In the first place, if I don't like the art style, I just can't get interested enough to play. And it doesn't even have to be realistic, detailed, huge graphics. It just needs to have a soul and cute color palette. For sure. I mean, there's so many games out there, right? Why play a game that's ugly when you can play a game that speaks to you? It was the most fun I had at the time, in fact. Are you talking about... Wait, what game are you talking about? Nimrus? Are you talking about Oblivion? Theme-based, quest-based, semi-open world, non-combat, relaxing, no-stress adventure game. I love it. That's a great tagline. That's perfect. Oh, Eastshade made me feel things just with its vibes and the music, and Quest didn't even feel like Quest. Gotcha. Okay, gotcha. Be right. 1 second, folks. Okay, so we got fence 2, big city gate. We made the fence. Oh yeah, that thing looks terrible. That thing looks so bad. Let me delete this monstrosity. It's horrible. Fence 2, big. Oh, you know what? I think that our export setting... it should be going to the right path here. It's called Fence 2 Big City Gate. Fence 2 doesn't seem to be exporting. Export. There it went. Okay, here we go. There we go. That's much better. Okay, I had absolutely no respect for how big the gate should be. If I were looking at the carriage, it's a pretty tiny gate for a very big carriage, so we might have to increase the size a little bit here. Are these really the same? Wow, they look totally different. Let me delete this one. And let me just increase this size. Cool, not too bad. It's okay if it gets a little bit bigger. And we're gonna probably want, oh, let's get rid of this as well. We can scale it a little bit, like can just fudge it. Really doesn't matter how it looks from this perspective. I only care how it looks in the game. Hey, Leo. Welcome, welcome. Tall Turtle says, getting ahead of myself here, but one thing I remember about Eastshade when I played it years ago is that you can't get all of the Steam achievements in one playthrough, as they contradict each other. I assume on purpose. Is Songs of Glimmerwick the same way? We have not given any thought at all to Steam achievements. We are just so... we're not achievement people, I guess. So I think even with Eastshade, we made some mistakes with the achievements. Yeah, I don't know. I think my gut feeling is that you should be able to get all the achievements in one playthrough. But obviously, Glimmerwick is a lot bigger than Eastshade. Like, it's gonna take a lot longer to beat. Okay, there we go. There's the gate. I'm gonna make a little shadow to go under it. But that's a good question. Do we want people having to play it twice? I don't really think so. I don't think that people should have to play it twice. They want all the achievements. I think just once very thoroughly. I think that Eastshade, could you really not get all the achievements in one playthrough? Kind of surprising to me. I think that you could. I think that we had one achievement, Keeper of the Forest, which was just like not picking the Black Thistle. And you could still beat that quest without picking the black. I think a lot of people thought you had to pick the Black Thistle, but you don't. You can still beat it without picking it. And you're still going to get the Go-Getter achievement. So I think you can actually do all of the achievements in one go. But we're going to be a little bit more thoughtful about stuff like that for this game. We didn't really understand how achievements worked for Eastshade. We thought that they were supposed to be like kind of like weird fun things, but they're not. And now I understand that. They're definitely supposed to be like yeah, they're not supposed to be like Easter eggy. I thought that they were. I think we might want a softer shadow on this. Up with chat here. Nimmerus says, never found the last candle. I'm sorry about that. That's another one. That one's too tedious. I thought that achievements are like that. They're like super grindy and kind of silly. But we're not going to do that for this game. I personally am not someone who cares about achievements at all, so I didn't really know what good achievements look like. But I think good achievements are literally just part of the game. So we'll just try to tie them to the game as much as possible. Like Go-Getter, that's a good achievement from Eastshade because that's just literally doing all the quests. And that's what the game already wants you to do. So we're going to make sure that those things align a lot better. Leo says, I want to say that I'm used to playing Eastshade to calm my nerves. All right. I like to hear it. That's amazing, Leo. Well, I'm glad that the game could do that for you. Tall Turtle says, for example, you had to get the wax by paying for it or doing it by getting a password or something. There were 2 or 3 that you had to play it again. Maybe so. Yeah, you do. In order to get one of the achievements, you have to buy the sealant from one glowstone guy for 500 glowstones. But you don't have to. There's nothing else. There's no conflict with that. That doesn't make you redo the game. You just have to make a bunch of money. Thanks, Leo. Appreciate that. Tall Turtle says, I'm the single, very thorough camp. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do for Glimmerwick. Sort of like just for playing. Yeah. I think we're gonna make them easier in general. I think people like easy achievements. That's what I've learned. That hard achievements, I thought achievements were supposed to be hard, but that now I have learned is not the case. I'm making a shadow to go under this little gate. I'm just going to put one on each side here. Just sort of give the illusion that as this gate gets closer to the ground, it's creating a little bit more ambient occlusion. And I think that's going to help make really ground the gate, make it feel like it's on the ground. Look at that. Feels a lot better. Okay. I am so perfectly happy with that. The only thing is this little thing sticking out, I feel like it doesn't quite need to. I don't like the direction it's going. I'm going to flip it. Yeah, I don't really like that either. What about this? Turn it. This should be achievable for a regular person. Yeah, I agree. I don't know if I like that super beat up fence. It's just kind of shabby. And I think that maybe a place like this maybe would have a nicer fence. So let's try to maybe just grab this one fence and flip this around like this. Something like that. And let's get rid of this shabby fence. I mean, I normally like the shabby fence to just sort of add a little bit of character and charm. But I think that because we're having like a festival here, I'm just feeling like they would clean that up, you know? They would fix it. They don't want it to look bad right at the entrance there. Oh, interesting. You have to play a few hours every week. And if you missed a week because you have an actual life, you can't get a bunch of them. Yeah. Forza 5 is a really, really, really dirty game. I think one has to understand the goal with Forza 5, it's to sell you on all the shit in the game. The game is an ad for itself. So once you add in all the microtransactions, I think that the game fundamentally changes, right? And all the suits, they want to make the whole game just about milking you. It's not really about giving you a great experience anymore. It's about extracting wealth from you. So the game designers know, this is a well-known psychological thing, that if you consistently play a game over weeks, that you're a lot more likely to become psychologically addicted to the game, to the point where even if you don't really want to play anymore, like because it's interfering with your life, it's really hard to stop. So that's why I think they're trying to get you, and they're penalizing you for having a life, just like you said. It's a very unkind business model, and it's predatory. It's disgusting. And I noticed that soon. I just played Forza 5 the other day. I don't even want to play it. Just my son was like, racing cars. He was pointing to the screen. He was like, Dad, you have to play that game. And then I just thought he would like it. So, but it's so annoying. All the, every single screen is just like, oh man. I was browsing through the cars, and he wanted one of the cars. He was like, red one, Dada, red one, want to race red one? And I was like, sure, yeah, let's get this one. And I clicked on it, and I had the credits for it, and it immediately was like, you need like a $40 car pack. This is a special one. And it was so annoying. It was like, no, you don't understand. My kid wants this exact one. I can't tell him that we can't play with this one because it's some weird microtransaction. In the end, I just got a different car and painted it red. And he was somewhat satisfied with that. Yeah, it's so annoying because the game is like, Forza 5 is one of the premier titles in Game Pass, right? Like you pay monthly for it. And now you're paying monthly for an ad. You're paying monthly for a free-to-play game. Like, it's so annoying. Very annoying. It's getting really disgusting. Like, I feel like that game should be free. I feel like it shouldn't even be, you shouldn't even need to have Game Pass. The way that they've designed the game is like, it's not like a premium experience. It's like, it's just an ad to sell you stuff. Let's go see what that is. It's Flannel Beard. Thank you very much for the raid. I appreciate that very much. Hello, hello, welcome. Paul Turtle says, I set it up as a driving simulator for my kids' wheels, pedals. Made them follow traffic laws. That's so funny. It's going great. We're making a fence. We just made this fence. It's very bright, everyone. In this, the scene is not that bright. In fact, we should test the fence because I think that we've solved our problems. The only thing is we need to make sure we can't actually leave this area. So I'm just going to, there we go. Just make sure that the fence connects with the forest wall here. We've got a lot of really high poly planes that we don't need. We can do a plane replacement on that. Oh, really? Lots of bugs. I didn't know that. A fence. Yeah, that's right. It's not quite 2D. It's kind of in the middle. Very strange art pipeline. Okay, let's just make sure we've got a connection here. We want to make sure you can't get out. There we go. Oops. Yeah. Okay, now it should connect with the fence. Hopefully players won't be able to leave. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the viz cam and I'm going to save the prefab. Oh, I'm going to delete this ghastly pole going right through our horse here. And then we're going to run around the fall festival and make sure that the collision is working. Our goal was to block off that area so players couldn't walk past it. Okay. 45-degree scroller. That's an interesting, I've never heard that one. Not top down, not side scrolling, yeah. Flannel Beard says, next time I do a 2D game, I'm going to put it in 3D space. Yeah, I mean, that's what we've done. I find it's a lot easier to deal with the sorting. Oh yeah, you just, great minds think alike. Great minds think alike. Sorting on 2D plane is killing me. Yeah, I can't deal with the sorting. The 3D is, it makes everything really easy. Let me go see. There. Prophet Nightmares. I really appreciate the follow. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's make sure that our fence works. It does. And we can't get through. This pleases me. This is gross here. I don't think we need this like that. We'll just make like a straight one that goes straight down. We'll do that next. That'll be easy. What is this? I don't like the angle of that, is very strange. Just hard to tell what's going on. So I'll make sure to deal with that. But other than that, I think it's pretty good. We can't walk through the pumpkins anymore, so that's good. I can walk behind this pumpkin. We're gonna have to take care of that. Now, yeah, walking. I can't walk into this pumpkin, so that's good. So we've just been adding all of the collision for this area, which is why I'm just bumping up against everything like a madman. Here we go. I guess we can fill that area back behind the cart. That is gross. We need to address that. And let's just see if the forests are looking a little more full. Yeah, they're looking a little more full, which is good. But we have an empty area over here. We need to fill that in. So I'm just walking around trying to take note of all the things. Down here, it looks like we need another row of trees because I can see the tree line depleting down there. This little fence right here, I guess it's okay. Yep, definitely more trees down here. And I think we should fill in this entire space. So just trying to push my way around, making sure we can't push our way. Okay, cool. Cool. And these lights probably should be on. Let me go ahead and push the time here, because really this festival should happen in the evening, I believe. I'm just going to push the time until it's night. Oh, okay, those lamps are, there we go. The lamps are finally on. There we go. Spooky. So these Halloween, or these jack-o'-lanterns need some lights inside of them. Some emissive, I think. But everything is working pretty well. These ghosts, I noticed they just disappear, so that's something that needs to not happen. The Wereduck and Is Flannel Beard. Thank you guys for the follow. Really appreciate that. Good job with chat here. Thanks, Flannel Beard. Oh, prophetic. Okay, that makes more. I read it really wrong. I said prophet nightmares. Prophetic nightmares. That's so much more epic. Nimmerus says, I love when I run around and find a bugged place where I get stuck outside of the playable area and see behind the scenes mess of half-textured surfaces. Different strokes for different folks, I guess. Really makes me think about the design process. I think because I'm neck deep in it every day, I don't get tickled by that. I just, usually I'm seeing someone else do it to my game and I'm like, God damn it. It didn't do the collision good enough. Ameripon, thank you very much for the follow. Appreciate that. Hey, and thank you for the kind words. Nettle Flap, thank you for the kind words as well. Where's this festival? I want to take part. It's in Songs of Glimmerwick. That's gonna work. That's not gonna work. I think I need to do a backslash, guys. Guys, I'm an idiot. Oh, you know what I need to do? I need to not do it from Restream. I need to do it from Twitch. I think. Is that working? I'm so stupid. I don't know how to work Twitch anymore, guys. I can't. It's the exclamation point. I'm fired. I'm going to delete all those messages because they're really humiliating. That is really just, guys, I don't know how to delete a message. I don't know how to do it. I'm just, I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to delete a message on Twitch. I could ban myself. I don't want to do that. Okay, guys, I'm going to leave it. All right. That is just sad. Okay. But Nettleflap, thank you for rescuing me and saving everyone from watching that. I know that was really hard to watch. Okay. So basically, yeah, around the edge, we needed to fill in more stuff, and there's this little kink at the fence, and we want to fill in behind here. So let's take care of all that stuff. Welcome back to Twitch. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while. I mean, I've done it so many times, you would think I would be able to do it forever, but it's not. Fall Festival. Let's go to the Fall Festival and make sure. Okay, this horse has, I see these planes and they just have so many polygons. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. It'll never matter. The modern GPU 2 triangles, 500 triangles. Doesn't matter. It doesn't care. It's like it eats it for breakfast. It just eats those words for breakfast. Just a draw call. Draw call is a draw call. Okay, so that fence just had kind of an ugly kink in it that I thought looked ugly. So it's very foreshortened because of the perspective. So I'm just going to really elongate it. Like that. This I don't think is even visible from the camera. But anyhow. We need another layer of trees. Basically, the entire world needs another layer of trees. We just do not have enough trees to fill out the tree line. So I'm just going to make really big, like kind of, actually, I'll keep them reasonable size. I'll just copy a ton of trees, just an absolute ton of trees. Just make sure all this is filled in. So the camera, you just cannot see the edge of the forest here. It just keeps going and going. Just putting way more trees. You know what? Sometimes I like to do this. I like to take like a cluster of dead trees. I make sure it's varied. I make sure I have all the variants in here. So I've got the aspen trunk 1, aspen trunk 1, aspen trunk 1. So I've got 3 aspen trunk 1s. I'm in the market for an aspen trunk 2. There's an aspen trunk 2. And I just want a really thick bit of trees here. All different sizes. I'm going to flip some of them. Some of them are -1 on the X. Some of them are +1. Okay. And I grab all these trees. Actually, I'll go ahead and create a new empty. And I'll just call it like dead thicket. And I'll deactivate the group because that'll help me see which ones I've already stuck in there. I'm going to select all of them and put them all in the dead thicket. Unfortunately, I left funny transforms on the group, but whatever. And now I can kind of put this thicket of dead trees just to really fill out the tree line. Then at least when people see back, you know, they're going to see like all these dead trees back there. Sometimes I like to put them in here just to make really, really almost like chaotically thick area. It just creates a different look. I can use it to just easily fill in a particularly sparse area. I'm thinking like right here. Do I want it like right there? Sort of chaos. I kind of like it. Yeah, I kind of like it. I'm just going to delete that one. That was a little too chaotic. Okay, and then I noticed it's also just very sparse behind. Our little cart here. So I just really want to make sure we've got lots and lots of supporting stuff back there. I also noticed a really ugly thing going on right here I don't like. Let me make those way smaller. Actually, it's kind of hard to even see them. There we go. Should be better. Actually, maybe this one is just floating too high. Let's stick it down there. And move it forward a little bit so it's not clipping through the tree. Okay. So we also need, got some collision here, but we need some collision on the sides. Let's add a box collider. Sides. And just make it really thick on the Y. The only trouble is we don't want it to be so thick that the NPC is covered. You know what? Maybe I can put it on like no raycast. Ignore raycast. There we go. Now we don't have to worry about it blocking the interaction. Oh, whoops. Okay. Make it really thick. I just don't think players need to go behind these pumpkins. There's just no good reason that they should. Okay, something like that. Cool. And maybe we can make it just a little thicker all the way to the front there. And now nobody should be able to go in there. So the guy, where is the automaton? There's somebody who's managing the game, the apple toss game. And I don't see him here. So that means he must be part of the schedule. Gotta be someone. Let's look at the card. So first of all, we killed this one. Block player from being able to leave by running the Fest West. Done. Oh, you know, there is something I need to check real quick. 1 second, folks. Okay. So we handled that. We just want to check our cards and find the vendors. Candy and snacks need to be in the pumpkin stall and cart. So I don't know which one is the apple toss. It's weird. I could have sworn there were automatons. Maybe we just need to look. We might just need to go into the festival and look. So let's go into the fall festival schedule. Here's fall festival, and I'll go ahead and check this out. And let's look at all the people. I'll just go to any old one. So there should be somebody standing right here, and I don't know who they are. New guy? Antoine? Nessa? Findant 2? Not Findant 2. Potion Prof. I just need to figure out who is managing that. I don't see anyone that would even make sense. Acorn. Definitely whoever's here, but it doesn't say their names, so. Okay, it's going to be a lot easier just to go into the game, so let's just go into the game. Oh, another thing I could have done maybe was add a light. Let's just do that just because we're going to be testing it anyway. I just want to do as many things as possible. Let's add a light to these pumpkins. And create a light, a point light. And we'll do 0 on the indirects. And we'll just make sure we got a nice orange tint. And I just want to add a light cycler to it. It's going to shine during night. I want to make sure it's mostly on the background there, so I'll put it behind. It doesn't have any directionality, so it should be pretty good. And I'll put another one on in this pumpkin. Cool. Okay, that's easy enough. Hopefully that looks good. We'll have to check the intensities once we're actually in there. What else did we want to do? Oh yeah, this area was really sparse, I think, just like right there. So let's just make sure to add a bunch of bushes. Just want to make sure that is all filled in with something. Add these scraggly cragglers. Something here. And then we might need a few more trees. We'll get one of these dead thickets. And we'll just stick it right here. Oops, I hate how these trees are at a slightly different angle. Makes them clip through each other a lot. All right. I'm wondering if we need another thicket, like here-ish. Maybe another one here. Seems pretty crazy that we would need more down here, but let's maybe make a very wide one. Grab some of these trunks in the back and just move them up. There we go. Okay. And then we can sort of move this back. And I think all these trunks can just be scaled up a little just to get better coverage down here. And now at least we have some kind of insurance for if the camera does end up just moving down a lot, at least there's definitely going to be some coverage down here. And we can do the same thing like over here. And to put another layer like right here, and we can put another layer like up here. Maybe over here, like that. And this one way out here, I'll just move right here, make sure it's actually being useful. Okay, that's cool. So we've got a lot more trees now. Okay, and I still, oh yeah, we never checked who's actually running that apple toss. Let's see. Let's pop into game. Okay, much better here with the fence. I like that a lot better. See, this is weird that you can't go here. Oh man, we got a little bit bouncing through there. Okay, and you can't go behind the pumpkin. That's great. That's exactly what I want. Can't get back there. That's exactly what I... Oh, okay. So this guy, I think, is the one with the apple toss. I don't remember what his name is. Zot. That helps me and not at all because the working titles are different. Okay, so Azot should be in the pumpkin, as far as I know. Cool. So Azot's in the pumpkin, and then somebody is selling something, Jacqueline said. Are you selling something? Oh, you have a great little animation when you talk. I wish everyone animated that well. Okay. Somebody is selling outfits. Ladies? No. You've got to be the pumpkin judge, right? Yeah. What about you? Okay. So you're selling baked goods and stuff. I don't even know who's selling outfits, man. Clary, you're not selling outfits. What you? What are you doing? I can't talk to you. Hey, GenoDev, welcome. Nimrus says, I'm a little behind on following up with game lingo, even though I'm a regular gamer. But is this game going to be a story-based game that we can finish, or is it going to be a game where we can keep playing regularly, like farming games such as Palia? Definitely a story game. Definitely the game, a kind of game that you finish, and you can play it again if you want, but it's not like an endless systemic sort of deal. She says... vendors, candy. So somebody is selling candy. It wasn't Sarah, was it? You're not selling candy. No, you're just selling like, oh, I want a gingerbread cookie. That looks so good. It makes me so happy. Does this make you guys happy? This heart cookie that's like half dipped, or this gingerbread cookie? I ate it. It makes me so happy. Just so festive. There's no music. The music is going to change everything. It's going to be so festive once there's music here. You're not selling outfits. Or candy. Somebody's selling candy. It's not you guys. Not you guys. I don't know why there's this lag. When you talk to someone, there's like this delay. It's not you guys. You guys aren't selling candy, no. Well, I'm at a loss. I really don't know. Wait. What did he say? Fall candies are truly delight. Somebody is selling candy and I don't know who. It's kind of the stupidest problem ever. And it's really not you. Oh boy. All right. Well, let's just check out how the pumpkins look at night. So they've got like some shadowing. Pretty good. Let's try increasing the strength of the light. Maybe that'll look cooler. I'm not sure. But first of all, I think that this can be a little bit brighter at the top. And let's go to our fall festival and let's select the pumpkin. I'm going to grab that point light and I'm just going to turn up the intensity. So that doesn't look very good because it's illuminating the front of the pumpkin as well as the back. I think if we move it further back, there we go. Then it kind of just illuminates the inside. And I think that looks a little bit better. Yeah, I think that looks cool. Especially if it was like flickering or something. I don't particularly like how it's illuminating everything back there. I think maybe what we need to do is turn off the light and just do it in the material. That seems like maybe the best way to do it. So yeah, that looks better. Surprisingly. I think that's a better way to do it. Although this one with the light looks even better, I think. I think we want to go with like a half light, half material approach. Nimmer says, either way, it's going to be one of my favorite games as soon as it's out. Well, that is very inspiring to me to hear. Really pumps me up. Really appreciate that support. Thanks, interrogation. Okay, so let's go into the first of all, let's find the candy shop. So here's a candy. I guess I'll find references in projects. Somebody's referencing this candy. It's Fall Festival Interior, Maine. Nobody's referencing the candy. How is that possible then? Who is selling the candy? It's just a shop. Let's find, what about Candy 1? Find references in project. Dude, I'm losing my mind here. I really am. I have no idea who is referencing this. If I do find references in project, it's going to take forever. This is so stupid. I mean, Jacqueline knows exactly who's selling the candy. She's asleep right now. I have no idea who's selling the candy. It's so annoying. I'm just going on this goose hunt. And I felt like I talked to everyone there. But I don't know who's selling the candy. So stupid. Anyhow, the light was okay. It just felt like it needed to be pushed more into the back a little bit. Do the same thing here. delete this bush because you're just not going to see it. All these little details, I just want to bring them out. I think that the ground out here looks a little bit lackluster. It's kind of empty. So just want to support it a little bit more with some of these little doodads. We need this I saw. The edge poking a little, so let's get rid of that. He says, is there a tentative release year for the game? We have not announced a release date yet. We will. Soon. Soon depending on what soon means to you, but it's coming. I appreciate the interest though, and I appreciate the question. I like when people ask, when can I play it? Because, you know, that means you want to play it, I think. I appreciate that. Irrigation says, I've been following this game for like 2 years. Okay, all right. Thank you so much. Really excited to play the game. Really appreciate that. All right, so I'm going to grab the background here and add a material color cycle. And the property, I think it's just color. Material index is 0, and the night color oh, okay, so there we go. We've got it. We've already got it maxed out, so maybe we don't even need color. Maybe that's what we want there. I don't know if these things should be even casting a shadow. Like, if I make them not cast a shadow, maybe that'll be better. At any rate, we definitely want... Oh boy, we've got an NPC we need to jam back there. I think we might have to add both of these things to the nav mesh modifier. I think we just want to ignore, because we don't want that to carve out the nav mesh, because I'm worried that the NPC won't be able to stand there. And we do need to make sure an NPC can stand there. So let's go to the Fall Festival schedule. And in fact, I guess we can leave that there. We're gonna have to rebake navmesh eventually. But let's go to the Fall Festival schedule and see if we can find a Zot who's like new guy or something. Not, is it new guy? Not Rohija. Aya, Finatu, Nessa, Antoine, new guy. Yep, it's new guy. So we got to put him here. And I just have no idea if his little head is going to be poking up there. We don't want him despawning. Show task transition, precision placement. I'm going to use that. Rig direction lock, position lock, fidget lock. I'm going to turn all this stuff on. Actually, I'll turn fidget lock off because he can fidget. That's fine. And I'm going to show off show task transition. That'll just make sure he never tries to leave. Okay. Interrogation says, sorry for my English. I would have never guessed. Your English seems impeccable to me. It is. It's good. It's effortless. Great English. Your English is a million times better than my Portuguese. I'll tell you that much. He says, I've been anticipating it since 2022. I'll be ready when it comes out. All right. Well, coming, man. It's not like around the corner. It's not like next month or something. But we're getting there. We're getting there. We see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's the final run. The final run. We're gonna land this freaking ship. Nimrod says, same here. I checked out the studio. See if you have other games right after I finish Shade. And ever since I've been following Songs of Glimmerwick, didn't want to ask when it's coming out anymore. All I know is I will be disappointed in the industry if it doesn't win any awards when it comes out. Because even watching the process is already so beautiful. What a nice thing to say. That is just too kind. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Ray Cassie asks, hello, welcome to the stream. Ask how the project is going. I think it's going really well. It's going, yeah, we're really excited. We've got a closed beta going right now, and just think it's going really well. The beta's going well. We're getting good feedback from people. People really seem to like it. They really genuinely seem to like it. And we're just cranking. We're just knocking down these lists. We just get lists and lists. We get feedback from the beta. We turn them into these Trello cards, and we just take one card at a time and knock it dead. Our Tall Turtle says, been following this from the beginning too. I try to look at the game page. Oh, too much because I don't want to allow myself to get too antsy. Interesting. Don't remember how you found eShade. I think most people probably found it just on Steam. Steam promotes it a lot. Sort of like one in the Steam game, I guess. Or just, maybe not one in the Steam game, but once you sell enough copies, then Steam starts promoting your game. Okay, so still looking for the candy seller. And it's not like candy, nothing about candy vendor. I don't know. I talked to everyone and I still don't know who to buy candy from. It's got to be someone with a shop. Maybe. Okay, I'm just going to do it. I'm just so sick of it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do find references in scene. Find references in scene. And we already did find references in project and we didn't find it. So find references in scene should take us to who is selling the candy. Now it's going to completely freeze Unity for God knows how long. So I'll just have to try to entertain you guys while we wait. Didn't find it through Steam because I didn't have Steam until I needed it for eShade. Wow, okay. Interesting, you found it somehow. That's so funny, I'd be curious. That's crazy, eShade was your first Steam game. That is crazy. That is absolutely nuts. Literally bringing people to the platform, man. Valve should pay me more money. That is so crazy. I never would have imagined that our game would bring someone to Steam. But I guess that's how Steam works, right? That's how they get so many. Everyone goes to it. True Haddock says, I discovered the demo, little game you made before, and then followed the process. Must say on Mac, I had a bug on Leaving Lindau that was never fixed. People had no faces. That is horrible. That is so bad. I really regret even trying to ship Leaving Lindau on Mac. I really should not have done that. Not have done that. Rainy Animations, hello, welcome, doing great. We're just waiting for Unity to finish finding references in scene. It's very boring. It froze Unity for the moment. I have faith that it will come back. I just don't know how long it'll take. Nimra says, eShade was my first cozy game, and ever since I have only played cozy games. I didn't even know you could have a game where you don't have to use violence of any sort. That is amazing to hear. I am so glad. So glad that eShade was able to put you down that path. I mean, I play my fair share of violent games, but I really like that lots of people are making games about other stuff now. Because you can make a game about anything. It doesn't have to be combat. And there's enough people making games about combat, so I don't really feel like we need to do that. Kumar Kaur says, I turned into your streams for a year. Wait, I might be reading. Oh, I tuned into your streams a year or a few ago. Game dev is no joke. Yeah, it can take a long time, that's for sure, especially because we're a very small team and we're making a very big game. Okay, there's a million things that reference it. So that was completely useless. I'm so annoyed with that. God, literally everything in the game references Fall Candy 1. That is crazy. I cannot believe that. Ray Cassie says, how do you manage to keep such a massive project organized in terms of folder structure? Folder structure is not too bad. I mean, we don't use a lot of folders. We just kind of have one big folder. Like every model in the entire game is in the models folder right here. Every model in the whole game is in here. And it's fine. Because you just use it when you use it. And then if you want to go find it, usually you just look at the game and you see, well, I want that model. And then you click on it. And that's it. One moment, folks. I need to cough here. Sorry. I'd say the harder part is maybe the production, I think, is harder to manage. But we just have design docs. We try to keep each thing encapsulated. We try to keep each quest encapsulated, each festival, everything is encapsulated, and it has its own design doc. And then we assign it to someone, usually Jenny, our programmer. Jacqueline writes the design docs, and then she gives it to Jenny. Usually I'll look at the design doc to just sort of go over things like ask questions or figure out like assets that need to be made, or maybe I'll have a suggestion on how maybe we should implement it or something. And then Jenny takes it and then she blocks it out. She sort of like implements the whole quest with code and everything, and she blocks everything out so it's actually working. And then Jacqueline will usually do the assets required, or sometimes she'll do the assets before, and then I'll look at the quest and figure out there's always things for me to do, like little like particles or animations, or maybe there's environments to flesh out or things to model or whatever. And then we just sort of keep on bouncing it back and forth between the three of us, because Jenny does all the programming, Jacqueline does all the illustration and most of the design and most of the writing. And I kind of do just like everything else that doesn't fall into any of those categories. Yeah, it works pretty well. We're very efficient. I know the game has taken us 6 years, but that's only because it's over 30 hours long and it's like really detailed and really like just hand authored. It's just a really, really, really massive game. But I actually think we're super duper efficient. Like we have been pulling in the same direction for 6 years. We've cut very little content. We have not been spinning our wheels. Like we don't really waste time on anything. We're just constantly putting content in the game. It just takes forever. Haddock says, I may have never discovered it if it never came to Mac. Well, that's crazy. You had to play it with people without faces. That's just completely insane. I feel like I've never even heard of that bug. That is so crazy. I'm really sorry about that. I should give you your money back, man. It's crazy. Boomer Core says, I built a small game a while ago, simplest gameplay possible, point and click, no real character movement, just a short level with a few stages and a puzzle in the end. It came out more than 7,000 lines of code at that point and hundreds of game objects. 7,000 lines of code is crazy. I don't think we have that much. I mean, we definitely have more than 7,000, but we don't. I don't know. I don't know how many thousands of lines of code we have. I'm guessing we have like 20,000. So that's crazy. You racked up 7,000. You might have been doing something wrong. That's a lot of code. Yeah, Baldur's Gate is a weird one. Baldur's Gate is a really special game. I know. I wish there were games like that weren't so horrible. And I mean, in terms of like, Baldur's Gate 3 is like sickening to me. Like, there's so much like torture and just gross, dark stuff. It's so crazy. It's like a fantasy RPG, but it's like torture porn. The whole game is like torture porn, I feel like. I can't even believe how gross some of the stuff is. So much, and everyone does it. It's like everyone has to be so dark and so violent and so much torture. I can't get a break, man. I wish there were like $100 million games like that weren't themed like that, sort of dark fantasy. Gotcha. Okay, so I wanted to test. I really want to find the person selling candy, but clearly I'm not gonna. So I just want to test if our NPC that we put in the pumpkin is actually in the pumpkin. So I'll go check that out. Okay, he's in there. But I can't select him. Why? Gotta be this. Oh, that one's on default, so that needs to be on ignore raycast. There we go, now we can select him. Okay. He's looking a little small. He's looking a little bit small in that pumpkin. I don't know how we're gonna make that look like an apple toss. Oh, she clipped through it a little bit. That's not good. Oh, now I'm stuck. All right, well, I'm gonna try to float that NPC and move him forward a little bit. And maybe increase his interact distance so that the player doesn't run so close to him. And I hope that that kind of fixes things. Ray Castley says, would you mind talking about how your quest objective system works? I'm working on one for my game, so any insight would be appreciated. Yeah. So for our games, all of our quests are completely unique. We don't have any templates, none whatsoever. Every quest objective is completely different. Oh crap, is that the garbage? No way. Oh man, I forgot to put my garbages out. I've got a BRB. No. God, it's not even garbage day. There's just a garbage truck out there. Out my window, I'm like, no, the garbage. I forgot to put my garbage out. I didn't forget. It's not garbage day, but for some reason there's a giant ass garbage truck out there. It's so weird. Anyway, oh yeah, so I was saying that all of our quests are completely different. So we don't really have like a system for our quests, which sounds kind of weird, but all of our quests are just hand wired. And the only like system we have is we have a quest log, and I think it works really well. So like you can like open, we have a conversation crafter. Not a good conversation. Get a good conversation here. We have a conversation crafter, like what I'm showing on screen here, and it has nodes. And we have like, we can make little callbacks to our, our code base here. So we can set bool flags, and we kind of just have little things for each part. Like we have like Boolean flags, or some people call them game tokens. And then we have, you know, like this is set schedule override, which this is literally just setting the schedule of an NPC in the world. So we have calls for setting an NPC to a different schedule. We have calls for getting a quest log. So we'll literally just put it in the conversation when the quest log needs to update and what quest log needs to show. And we just build our quests out of those little tiny parts. And it works quite well when you stop thinking of like the mono system of like something that controls the whole quest system, and you start thinking of it as instead the little things that need to happen. Like you need to get a quest log. Okay, that's it. So just give the player a quest log. That's it. Maybe you have a quest objective or something, then the quest log just needs to come with a transform or a position or something that the player, you know, that their little like map will point them to or something like that. And you know, if the NPC needs to give the player something, then just have the NPC give the player something. Just give item, and then they give them the item. But we don't have like a template that we fill out that like, okay, here's the reward item, and here's the reward money, and this is the quest objectives, and these are the stages, and this is how many stages it has. We don't have any of that. It's just literally, oh, you want to give a reward for a quest? Great, then do a complete quest log. So it literally just closes out the quest in the log. That's a separate call. And then just give the player an item. You want to give them money? Just give them money. Just say give money 500 or whatever, and you just put it in. And some quests don't give you money, so they don't have that. Some quests give you an item, so they give you an item. And some quests don't give you anything, so you just get nothing. You just get XP for the quest. And then XP, you want to give them XP, then just give them XP. That's how we do it. That way we can make every quest completely different. And we don't like bend ourselves in a pretzel trying to make some mega quest system that can accommodate every kind of quest. I don't know if that's helpful, but anyway, that's the way we do quests. Nettleflap says, one cozy lie for me is Stardew Valley. I get super stressed out about in-game time playing that game. I'm glad you mentioned that, because we also noticed that about the entire farming sim genre is actually a time management genre, which is one of the reasons why we removed that from Songs of Glimmerwick. We do it in a completely different way. There's no time pressure in Songs of Glimmerwick, and we feel like, I don't know if you've seen the devlog that we made about how we do time in Glimmerwick, but we completely changed up the formula from the normal farming sim, and we think it works a lot better, at least for what we're trying to make the player feel, I guess. What is paying off someone off to hire a body? Yeah, the garbage truck. I know. So weird. Because I keep fainting in Stardew. Yeah, I feel ya. Okay, so let's go to the Fall Fest. God, give me a heart attack. I was like, with the garbage, just like, why does the garbage truck here? That was so weird. It's new guy. It's new guy. Come on, where is he? New guy, third guy. Third guy, dude. All these names are ridiculous. It's not the name of the NPC in the game. This is just the working title that Jacqueline decided on like 5 years ago. And that's just how we refer to these NPCs in code and in our markup. And now there's just like that forever. New lady, married dude, Fern, third guy, Amka, new guy. There he is. So I'm going to move him up a little bit so that more of him shows. And I'm going to move him a little bit forward and a little bit up. And I'm hoping that the player won't have to get so close. I wonder if we can take that pumpkin background and just like put some like pumpkin details in there, like just sort of make like the inside of the pumpkin like this, and then I'll just knock back the opacity of that. Does that look good? I guess we'll see how it looks from the player perspective. Something tells me we're going to need more of those lines. Yeah, I'll just finish this one. Okay. Save that. Ryan JQ asks, are you up early or late? I'm up late. I'm just on this completely insane sleep schedule. I'm going to knock back this a little bit. Yeah, I think it maybe does add a little bit of depth. Okay, let's go see if we can still talk to our pumpkin guy. Oh, I forgot to change the layer. I'm going to do that before I forget, because I will forget. What do you feel like repels you from Stardew Valley, Tall Turtle? Is it like the art style, or is it the fantasy of running a farm, or is it the sort of apparent tediousness of running the farm? Ryan JQ asks, is it because of your game development or because of your son? It's because of my game development. My baby boy's, he's all right at sleeping. He's all right. He wakes up every now and again. He says funny shit at night. He has funny requests that he comes up with. The other night, he was crying and I went in there and he was standing up in his crib and he was like, Dada, go downstairs and bring me sticker cars up to my crib. He said all that to me, my 2-year-old. He said that. He wanted me to go downstairs and bring him, it's just like a sheet of vinyl cars, like that he can just put on a page. He calls them, they're like his sticker cars. And he just woke me up at 4 a.m. to tell me to go downstairs and bring him up these cars so he could play with them. It's so crazy. We need to go into the fall festival. I don't even know how he thought of that. Can't wait to play and record Songs of Glimmerwick. I did eShade when it was new. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for covering our game, Tall Turtle, and thanks for streaming it. Always grateful of that. What was the first part of the question? Oh, I asked you what it was about Stardew Valley that made you like not that interested. I was asking, was it the art style or was it the sort of tediousness? He gives you quests. Yeah, exactly. He gives you quests. I wouldn't normally get it for him, but he just couldn't sleep. So I did. I got him one sheet of his sticker cars. I just thought he'd play with them and then eventually fall asleep. I'm also a pushover. I need to grab this background and just make sure it's on the no ignore raycast layer. Put this one on the ignore raycast layer as well. Ignore raycast. And we'll give that a save. Old Turtle says, not crazy about the pixelated graphics. Not into 2D scrollers anymore. I like super immersive environments. Hence my love for Minecraft or my own, with my own textures and shaders. Interesting. Too much eye stimulation at once, maybe. I think that Stardew Valley is a very, very colorful. It's like so colorful it hurts. It's not in a good way. To me, anyway. I don't think the game looks very good. All right, so he's looking a little bit better in there. Let me try interacting with him. Cool. Okay, so now she doesn't clip through. I can play the apple toss game. Let me play the apple toss game and... Okay. So here we've got what it looks like here. Maybe we can try to make the interior of this pumpkin look a little bit more like the apple toss game. I actually think we might just be able to copy the entire apple toss meshes and put them in the pumpkin. That would be great. Let's try that. Gosh, it's already 7:15. That's crazy. Speaking of my baby boy, he's probably going to be up soon. Let's do apple toss. We've also got another one on the way. I don't know how that's going to work. Makes no sense. I don't know how people have 2 babies or 3 or 4. It's completely insane. Oh, there he is. I hear him. All right, folks. I'm going to have to run. I want to thank everyone for hanging out with me. It's been a great stream. Let me catch up real quick before I... 3 hours, yeah. It's a pretty long stream. Wow, yeah, that was really easy to do 3 hours. 2 kids isn't twice the work, it's 10x the work. See, I've heard the opposite. I've heard 2 kids isn't twice the work, it's like 1.5 times the work, but I don't know, we'll see. I don't know if people have 1 kid. Yeah, it's really hard at the beginning. It's very hard. Right? It's way easier now that he's 2. I can't stand the people who are like, well, wait until they're 20. It's like, fuck that. That's so much bullshit. 20-year-olds don't wake you up 6 times in the night, so it's not as hard. So stupid. I wish that nobody had told me that back when my son was 6 weeks old and I was sleeping like 3 hours a night. Okay, anyhow, enough about that. It's been a great stream. I want to thank everyone for hanging out with me, and hopefully I'll catch some of y'all next stream, which hopefully will be soon. All right, peace out. See you guys.